Hey guys, this is Miss Pearson. Welcome to an async video for our last lesson today, our last lesson of Unit 1. First thing is pause this video unless the teacher has shown that introduction video, that first introduction video that they should have shown at the very beginning. All right, and if they haven't, tell your teacher that they should play it. All right, cool. You have paused this video. You have hit play again. You are ready to begin. So we always have our do now. I'm going to transition my camera to my sketchbook here. For our do now, we are critiquing. We are doing all about critiquing. Yesterday was responding and reflecting our work. Now we are critiquing and yeah, so let's dive in. So part A says, explain how the artist applies value in their work. Part B says, how creative did the artist use their lines? Part C says, how effective were the artist's use of pattern? Part D is, did you see the artist contrast their lines and/or values? And then E, what is the most successful part of their artwork? All right. So go ahead and pause this video, answer those questions, press play when you're ready. Awesome sauce. So you have press play. You're ready to go over these questions for your do now. This should have taken up pretty much the entire page of your do now, so that top half. Some things that I added on there was they applied value through cross-hatching and pattern making. So I can even take my button here and just kind of zoom in on Miss Crum and her work. She did a great job with that cross-hatching and that pattern making. Yes, I do believe that she was extremely creative with her lines. She was creative with the diversity of choice in lines, which was awesome. And then for part C, it says how effective were those pattern making. I think she was extremely effective, especially with that dark, medium, and light values, those dark, medium, and light values, very effective on it. Did you see the artist contrast their lines? Yep, that's literally what I said in part C, was like, that was the thing that I noticed of all of the things, that was it. Which goes to show that she was super successful in it, right? And then lastly is, what is the most successful part? So on top of contrasting, I also think her shading on her face was super successful. She did some great examples of depth around here and also this hatching, right? So you can see those tiny little lines around her nose, and then the rest was all of this hatching around her nose to add that depth. And you can see it around her eyes as well, a little bit on her forehead and her chin. So I thought that was really great and very well done as an artist. Awesome. So what are we doing for the rest of this time? Well, we're continuing critiquing just like what you guys did in your do now, but we're gonna have it a little bit more guided. So the first thing is working with integrity in the studio. Always, 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 always. That is going to be there permanently, forever and ever. The second thing is you have written at least 5 glowing formal critiques in response to other scholars' work. So this is a 10-point assessment grade. So this would actually be changed. How am I graded today? Is an assessment grade. Okay. Let's begin. So for our visual journaling, we have critique and formalism theory. Critique is a discussion about what makes an artwork good. And I'm actually going to follow along with this one. So instead of pausing, I will write and follow along as you guys are working. Critique, we're writing this in our visual journaling, the bottom half. Okay. A discussion about what makes an artwork good. That classic question, right? What makes art good? You ever go into an art museum and you're like, I could do that. What makes that good? Okay. There are all different ways to examine or determine whether art is good. One of those ways to determine whether art is good is formalism theory. Formalism theory simply is just the way it is made. The way it is made, right? Or you can even think about it as like how it simply looks, right? So we're not thinking about like the interpretation, we're not thinking about like the deep conceptual meaning behind it. All those are ways that you can critique and look at art and decide whether art is good. We are just focusing on the way it is made and how it looks. We're keeping it nice and simple, right? So hopefully you have written those down. If you did not finish writing down those two definitions, then pause this video to finish that up. Great. So consider this, a formal critique will concentrate solely on how an artwork looks, color, line, shape, and texture, right? The story being told and any historical or social context behind the artwork has no bearing about whether it's considered successful in this case. Maybe some other art pieces, but in this case, we're not considering that, all right? So we are just looking at those elements and principles of design right here. You can see elements and principles of design. You might be asking, Ms. Pearson, what are elements and principles of design? We haven't talked too much about it. So now is the time we're just gonna like sum up all of these terms that we've discussed and like how the art world categorizes these terms, right? So the first one is those elements. That's line, shape, color, form, value, texture, space. Think of those as like the ingredients to a recipe. So we have over here our banana muffin, right? This is our banana muffin recipe. Think about the elements of art as the ingredients, okay? And then we have our principles of design. That is our contrast, emphasis, repetition and pattern, variety, proportion, rhythm and movement, and balance. This is how we apply our line, shape, form, and etc., right? That's how we apply those. So that's the recipe, right? So we take our ingredients, line, shape, color, form, etc. And if we just threw it into a bowl and said, cool, I'm done. I got my art piece, right? I got my muffins. Is that successful? Does that make art good? Hopefully you answered no in your head, right? You actually have to follow a recipe in order to apply those ingredients and make something, in this case, banana muffins, or for our artwork, a successful art piece, right? So we got to learn how to apply those. So let's take a look at how we have used those elements and principles, or the ingredients and the recipe, right? So our ingredients have been contour lines, or you can just simply say lines in general, right? And value. Those are our two things, line and value. That's all we have done in this entire project. How we've applied those was through the rule of contrast, proportion, and pattern, right? We've taken lines in order to create a pattern. We've using the pattern in order to create, or we've used value to create contrast, right? We've taken value and we've applied it in order to make contrast. And then also proportion, we've used our lines to hopefully get a proportionally correct face. Some other terms that we have used is just creativity, craftsmanship. So craftsmanship means like cleanliness or like clean, neat lines. You can also use the term like expressive. So if someone has just like a really awesome artwork and it has some really cool like identifying symbols, religious symbols, athletic or academic symbols, that can be a great example of it being very expressive, right? Or a really cool facial feature, very expressive. Some of you guys got to do the monoprint, so that was exciting. And that was another term we used. And then also representational subject matter. Representational subject matter just means subject matter that you can recognize, right? If it's very abstract, then it is non-representational. But if you can identify what is in the photo, it is representational, okay? Those don't necessarily follow into the ingredients or the rules, the elements or the principles, but it's just other terms that we have kind of used, and I wanted to reiterate. There was nothing in this area that you needed to write down. If you wanted to add this in your visual journaling, you can pause this video and create this chart, but it's not required. All right, so we're gonna do a little guided practice, checking out Miss Crumb's portrait here. We're gonna start with this sentence starter. Go ahead and pause this video and actually do add this part in your visual journaling. Definitely add this part in your visual journaling. And you will fill in the blank. It says their artwork is good, successful, exemplary, aesthetically pleasing piece of art because, think about those terms when you fill in that blank. Go. All right, so you've paused the video, you've come back. I'm curious to hear what you guys have put. I can't wait to maybe check it out next time when I come back. You guys are going to practice that for the rest of studio time today. I went ahead and put this word bank here so you guys can continue referencing to this word bank. You will have the rest of this time to create 5 formal critiques within the Flipgrid, right? So all of those videos that are already posted. All right, so I went ahead and pulled up Flipgrid here, and I have Miss Crumb's video that she posted. You're gonna go into Flipgrid just like you did before. You're not gonna post a video. You're just going to click into the videos that are already there. Again, if you have not done your Flipgrid video, that's okay. Don't worry about it right now. Just respond to these videos that are here before. And then if you have time at the end, try to work on getting your Flipgrid video on your Chromebook or your shoulder partner's Chromebook, okay? So we have our video opened up and we're gonna watch it. That's the first thing we'll do. Once we're done watching it, we're gonna scroll down and add a comment. Just like what you did in that statement. Where is it? There it is. Just like what you did in this statement, their artwork is good or successful because, and including specific terms like because of their contour lines, because of their contrast and value, because of their strong proportion, or their expressiveness of identifying symbols, whatever that may be. That statement, literally one sentence, that's all. If you want to add more, go for it, right? You're just going to type that out in this comment below. Enter, done. All right, there's one. Then you'll just do 4 more. You can pick whatever student you would like to do. These are Voyager and Flagship students, Voyager and Flagship. All right, so it's super exciting. You can maybe check out your a family member or a cousin, or well, that's a family member, a sibling, a cousin, a friend, whoever that you might have at Flagship. Maybe see if you can find their name and just send them some glows, right? Some love their way. Please make sure you do that for 5 different people and try to find some names that don't have any critiques on them. All right. Go ahead and pause this video, complete your 5 critiques, and then come back to this video when you're done. Great. All right. So you are back. Now, the last thing that you are going to do is just make sure that you have done your video recording. If you have not done your Flipgrid recording, your video recording, right, then you're going to ask your, well, first see if you can do it on your own Chromebook, right? And then this is where the teacher, the sub, is going to have 3 students go out into the cubby space, not in the commons, but in the cubby space, and try to take that video. If the sub decides that that is too stressful for them, and they are more than welcome to just not do that. In that case, you guys will just do some free draw, and I'll tell you more about what that free draw will look like, okay? Ask your shoulder partner if you can borrow their Chromebook to take that video if needed, or maybe like the person in front of you or the person behind you if you borrow their Chromebook. Please make sure that they are done watching this asynchronous video before you just ask to snag their Chromebook, all right? they got to also be done with theirs as well. Okay. And then if you're borrowing their Chromebook, they'll just kind of patiently wait until you're done. You already know how to make the Flipgrid video. It should take 2 minutes. They'll just patiently wait for 2 minutes. A teacher will just like shower them with kindness points because they're helping a friend out. Worst comes to worst, you will just bring your sketchbook, bring your artist statement, all that good stuff for the next time I see you guys, and I'll just get a photo of your artist statement and your self-portrait. That's like the last resort, right? So when you guys return, you get your video in, both of y'all get your video in, you and your shoulder partner or someone next to you, especially if you're on those like individual tables over by the window, you might have to ask someone like close by, in front, or behind. Once you guys get those in, you will then get to do some free draw, which is what I mentioned before. With that free draw, you are going to go into Google Classroom, which I'm going to pull that up. Let's see, here we go, Google Classroom. It is the Art 8th Pearson. Right, there's the code. Hopefully you have that code. If you're watching this video, then you have the code, right? And then you will get to select one of these videos to practice with. So we've got like just an overall facial features, which is what I recommend. You can even just like skip ahead to the part. She does like a lot of talking and introduction at the beginning. You can skip ahead and to get like the nitty gritty of those proportions and facial features. There's all these other ones that I have here that I recommend watching, and you will just do it on a blank page in your sketchbook. So you have your notes here, literally just go to the next blank page and just do some doodling and sketching in here. All right, that is what you guys are doing. I'm hoping that this will be an easy day to get lots of kindness points, lots of balance points. And you guys are just gonna rock it. All right, I will yeah, send me an email if you have any questions. All right, peace out, guys.